If other people are putting in 40-hour work weeks and you're putting in 100-hour work weeks, then even if you're doing the same thing, you know that you will achieve in 4 months what it takes them a year to achieve. I went to Russia to look at buying a refurbished ICVM, which is a very trippy experience. It was very bizarre. And when I tell people that, they're like, what? I think it's important that humanity become a multi-planet species. I think most people would agree that a future where we're a spacefaring civilization is inspiring and exciting compared with one where we are forever confined to Earth until some eventual extinction event. You know, that's really why I started SpaceX.
When you had that third failure in a row, did you think, I need to pack this in?
Never.
Why not?
I don't ever give up. I mean, I'd have to be dead or completely incapacitated.
You know, there are American heroes who don't like this idea. Neil Armstrong, Gene Cernan have both testified against commercial spaceflight and the way that you're developing it, and I wonder what you think of that.
I was very sad to see that, because those guys are, those guys are heroes of mine, so it's really tough. You know, I wish they would come and visit and see the hardware that we're doing here. And I think that would change their mind.
They inspired you to do this, didn't they?
Yes.
And to see them casting stones in your direction.
It's difficult.
What are you trying to prove to them?
What I'm trying to do is to make a significant difference in spaceflight and help make spaceflight accessible to almost anyone. And I would hope for as much support in that direction as we can receive. You want to do projects that are inspiring and that make people excited about the future. Life's got to be about more than just solving problems. You want to get up in the morning and say, yes, I'm looking forward to that thing happening. And I guess that was my essential disappointment with the California so-called high-speed rail. It's like, I was looking at that, wow, and it's like, well, they've got better things, they did better things in Japan 30 years ago. They've got something way better in China. Why are we doing this and spending so much money on it?
Try to be useful. Do things that are useful to your fellow human beings, to the world. It's very hard to be useful. Very hard. Are you contributing more than you consume? Can you try to have a positive net contribution to society? I think that's the thing to aim for. Not to try to be sort of a leader just for the sake of being a leader or whatever. A lot of the time, the people you want as leaders are the people who don't want to be leaders. So, if you can live a useful life, that is a good life. A life worth having lived. And like I said, I would encourage people to use the mental tools of physics and apply them broadly in life. They are the best tools. But I'd encourage people to read a lot of books. Just read, basically try to ingest as much information as you can, and try to also just develop a good general knowledge. So you at least have like a rough lay of the land of the knowledge landscape. Try to learn a little bit about a lot of things. Because you might not know what you're really interested in. How would you know what you're really interested in if you at least aren't doing a peripheral exploration of broadly of the knowledge landscape? And talk to people from different walks of life and different industries and professions and skills and occupations. Just try learn as much as possible. Man's search for meaning. But just generally, like I said, I would encourage people to read broadly. In many different subject areas, and then try to find something where there's an overlap of your talents and what you're interested in. So people may be good at something, or they may have skill at a particular thing, but they don't like doing it. Mm-hmm. So you want to try to find a thing where that's a good combination of the things that you're inherently good at, but you also like doing. Well, you got to learn about things somehow. So reading a broad range, like just really read it. You know, at one point when I was a kid, I read through the encyclopedia. So that was pretty helpful. And there are all sorts of things I didn't even know existed. Well, lots, so obviously. And
it's like as broad as it gets.
Encyclopedias were digestible, I think, you know, whatever, 40 years ago. You know, maybe read through the condensed version of the Encyclopedia Britannica. I'd recommend that. You can always like skip subjects where you read a few paragraphs and you know you're not interested, just jump to the next one. So read the encyclopedia or skim through it. But I, you know, put a lot of stock and certainly have a lot of respect for someone who puts in an honest day's work to do useful things, and just generally to have like not a zero-sum mindset, or like have more of a grow the pie mindset. Like if you sort of say like when we see people like perhaps including some very smart people kind of taking an attitude of like doing things that seem like morally questionable, it's often because they have at a base sort of axiomatic level a zero-sum mindset, and they, without realizing it, they don't realize they have a zero-sum mindset, or at least they don't realize it consciously. And so if you have a zero-sum mindset, then the only way to get ahead is by taking things from others. If it's like if the pie is fixed, then the only way to have more pie is to take someone else's pie. But this is false. Like obviously the pie has grown dramatically over time, the economic pie. So in reality, you can have so overuse this analogy. You can have there's a lot of pie.
Yeah,
pie is not fixed. Yes. So you really want to make sure you're not operating without realizing it from a zero-sum mindset, where the only way to get ahead is to take things from others. Then that's going to result in you trying to take things from others, which is not good. It's much better to work on adding to the economic pie. Maybe, you know, so that's a big deal. I think there's like a fair number of people in finance that do have a bit of a zero-sum mindset.